How are we doing, everybody? This is Ben Murphy with Deuce Kirk team. In this video, we're going to actually be talking about the pros and cons of living in Georgetown, Kentucky. Here we go.
Hey everybody, before we get started, be sure to hit that like button for us.
It helps us get the video out there, especially for people who are researching information about Georgetown. So we're going to start off with the pros of living in Georgetown. There's honestly a ton of pros, but we're going to narrow it down to probably the biggest, more favorable ones. Deuce, if you had a pro of people who are moving into the area and living in Georgetown, what would be a big pro that, jump out at you?
Well, what I hear most people say is you get a little bit more value, the property a little bit bigger, the land a little bit bigger, property tax a little bit less. So you get a little bit more for your money there. It doesn't have the big city things Lexington has, but it's only 20 minutes down the road, and it's right. I-75 is right there, so that still makes it good.
Right. So basically, for the same price you get in Lexington, the house is bigger, property's bigger, probably better quality. This is probably your biggest pro for the first one.
Yeah, I don't know if quality's in there, but it's it's a little bit more bang for your buck,
Now, I've mentioned to you all before, I coach, and I also used to be a substitute teacher, got a chance to substitute through all of Lexington, even surrounding areas. One thing I do notice about Scott County, good schools, real good schools, actually. Looked up the best high school system in the United States, ranking system-wise. They got Scott County at 28 in the state of Kentucky and 5 here in the Lexington general area school. So
nice.
You don't have to live in Lexington to get that high quality education, because Fayette County is really, really good, but Scott County is right there, right in the mix of all of them. So a pro, if you're trying to make sure you're finding a good school system, Scott County's got it. Georgetown is located in Scott County, just for everyone who wasn't following me. So we got good schools, cost of living's not too bad. Bruce, what's another pro that you would want to make sure people knew about Georgetown?
I'm sure everybody knows Toyota. Toyota plant is right there. That's a huge pull for that city. It's good. It's a good central location right there too. Toyota's huge.
Yeah,
People like it right there.
I think Toyota, since they came in, the town has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. It's still only 30,000 people live in that area, but it's growing. My in-laws live there. They're over there all the time. I was there last night. It is getting bigger every single year. Unique pro that a lot of people don't necessarily think about when it comes to Georgetown. If you look on a map, it is right next to the interstate system. Why would that be a pro? Well, Deuce, if you want to live in Georgetown and work in Lexington, it's 100% viable at that point. You can easily drive 30 minutes into Lexington. You're actually 30 minutes from Frankfort, the capital, and you're a short 1-hour drive to Cincinnati. I do know people who live in Georgetown that work in Cincinnati. It is a very simple, easy drive up 75 to get you there. So a unique pro, again, trying to get to places. Georgetown, I think they have 3 exits off Georgetown exits. So you've got a lot of different opportunities to get on that road, and it'll get you anywhere you need to. Okay, so now we're going to talk about maybe the downsides of living in Georgetown. Every city's got upsides and downsides. So, Deuce, if you were going to warn someone about a downside that comes with living in Georgetown, what would be one of them?
And it might be the small town. It's got a small town feel, and it is. You got to come to Lexington for your entertainment. That might be the only downside, really. But it's only 15 minutes, so it's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm. Small towns go both ways. It could be a pro for some people. It could be a con for others. I think it just depends on what you're necessarily looking for. So small community is a con. Could be a con. Not a lot of entertainment's another con, but kind of like what Deuce says, and goes back to what we were just saying a minute ago about the highway system. You're a short drive to everywhere. Small towns, it doesn't have a big mall. Lexington's got a couple of those. Again, short little drive to get you your entertainment. Probably the last con that we'll talk about real quick is the infrastructure. Similar to Kentucky, we've talked about pros and cons in Lexington. It's not designed for growth right now, so the community is growing. Toyota is building up that community, and the infrastructure wasn't necessarily designed for that. So just kind of understand as you do make your decision of where you're going to land, here in the Lexington area. Georgetown is a great spot, great location, but the infrastructure definitely will need to, I guess, elevate itself.
They're working on it. I mean, there's lots of new construction going on over there, lots of road construction going on, so they're working on it. But
yeah, and that's kind of a
it's
pro.
little tight.
That's a pro that we really didn't touch on. There's tons of new constructions out in Georgetown. Tons and tons and tons of new constructions are being built out there, so maybe the infrastructure will.
It'll catch up eventually.
All right, everybody, so that ends this video. We're talking about pros and cons of Georgetown, Kentucky. Hopefully you learned something a little bit about the area. I know that talking about cons, you feel like you're kind of ragging on an area specifically, but I love Georgetown. I love visiting there. My wife and I, we talk about living there, moving there, just because she works at University of Kentucky. It's a short drive. There's so many upsides to Georgetown. I love visiting there. You got the horse park, which is out there. We'll do a future video about the horse park, which is...
There's really not any cons. I mean, you kind of had to make something up there. I mean, it's really the road system, but it's not that big of a deal. It's sweet.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's it. Like, if you look at the cons specifically, small town, most people want a small town, especially when you're parked right next to a big city. You get away from all the big cityness. It's I don't know. Georgetown is definitely a great place. I love sharing it with out-of-state buyers. Like, hey, you need to come check out Georgetown. It's kind of a diamond in the rough. You may not know about it. It may not exist on your radar, but every time I do, they love it. They're immediately interested and they want to know more about Georgetown. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button as well, because we're posting videos every single week. And if you are from Lexington, please leave a comment. Let us know what we need to be sharing with people, kind of bragging about our area, and that way we just get more content out there of explaining to people why they need to move to Lexington.